In this video, I'll share with you the apps that I used to go from barely a 3.0 GPA to a 4.0 GPA in my nursing degree. And it's going to be a lot simpler than you want it to be, than you expect it to be. And in terms of all the stuff you're going to need for school, if you're going into your freshman year or you're going into your senior year, if you feel like you need to change it up and get better, get smarter, have a better discipline, work ethic, things like that, these are all the things that you need. And the first one is kind of all-encompassing, but it's just all of Google's apps. And the ones that I only used were Google Calendar, so that I could set up my schedule for what class I had to take, when things were due, and also office hours for professors' times and when they could be accessible. And then also just planning your other life stuff, like going to the gym, seeing friends, whatever other events that you might have. And so Google Calendar is a must. And the thing I like about all of like Google's ecosystem is that it has everything that you need. Now, when I went to school, AI wasn't really a thing. Like ChatGPT, like 3.0, I think, like was just coming out as I just finished and I graduated. And so I didn't get to use any of this stuff. It didn't make it any easier. But I think if I did have the chance to, I would be using the shit out of it. And Google has one of the best ones. It has Gemini. And Gemini, I think, in my opinion, is the easiest to use. I find it the most helpful, and there's so many things that you can do with it. So if you're going to use AI, I would use Gemini to either help you schedule all your things, keep track of all your things, and just have a conversation and stay on top of all your things. I personally use Gemini for my financial goals, which is something that you should look forward to when you are dealing with school, because you might be taking student loans, you might have your allowance from your parents, or you might just had to have worked, and staying on top of your budget is an essential skill to have further past university and during university, and just is a good skill to have for life. And it's something that isn't taught. And so I found I learned a lot from using Gemini, just having conversations with it, but also doing my own research. So Google's interface is the way to do it. Google Calendar is what you need. You need Google Tasks. Google Tasks is the best thing that I've ever started using. And I actually started using it after university, but I would use it again if I had to. And so basically you can make different folders of different types of tasks. So I have like a grocery list. I have a when things are due for each class kind of list. And then you can put like when it's due on the task list with the calendar date, and it'll auto-populate into your Google Calendar. So it's like seamless transitioning. You can have daily tasks like workout, brush your teeth, whatever easy tasks that you have during the day. And then also flashcards, and just constantly be reminded of all the things that you need to do. So tasks and calendar in terms of productivity is all you need. People love to overcomplicate studying and doing school and doing well, but you really don't need any of that stuff. You don't need 20 different Notion templates. You don't need any of that. In terms of if you're doing like a degree in like biology or anything where you have to memorize like the sciences, I think is easy for this type of learning. Is I would use RemNote, and I talk about it in basically every video, but this is the one that saved my ass. And it's just you writing notes down. You can write it, you can separate it by class, and then you write the notes down while you're in lecture. And then after lecture, you go over your notes and you can make them into flashcards really easy by just putting a colon in between 2 points that you want them to be flashcards. And it helps you organize things so that you are learning in a way where you're asking questions, because you're going to be taking tests, and tests are just questions and answers. Okay. So if you can memorize and like look at every piece of information as a question and an answer, and you practice answering those questions, or even knowing what the question is, like jeopardying it, and by knowing the question to the answer of something, then you are going to know it so much better. And once you get your flashcards down and you start doing those every day, your foundation, you'll never have to cram again. You'll never have to do anything like that. So RemNote is the goated note-taking app. Now, there might be some better ones nowadays. I'm not sure. But RemNote is the one that I use. And, maybe there's some better AI ones, and it probably has AI capabilities now. But that's the one I would start with. And in terms of AI and note-taking, you could ask the professor to record lectures and things like that. But honestly, if you write the notes down, people like to, talk so much about pencil and paper being easier to remember. Honestly, screw all that. I don't think you need any of that stuff anymore. I think that was a thing of the past. Even me, I used to be kind of like a purist and being like, I needed a physical textbook so that I could highlight and do things and just be a fucking bookworm. And it was actually such a waste of time because textbooks are not only expensive, they're heavy and they just get in the way of everything. So if you have all your textbooks online, that's even better. Then you can use, if you use your textbooks online, you can like have AI, you can like just like copy and paste. I don't want to say, I don't want to give anything wrong. I don't want to like plagiarize and, you know, this is what I would do. I would literally, if it was like a chapter in the textbook, I would maybe copy and paste it, see what it looks like, and say, hey, build me a test on this. And that would be the best way to review stuff. At the end of the day, it's just about repetition. How many flashcards have you done? Have you gone over the material enough? There's no secret sauce to this. It's just doing it more and more. And then if you're like math or physics major or computer science, then you just have to do practice questions and practice questions on top of that. And then the ultimate key to all this and doing well in school is to ask your professor and look at the syllabus and see exactly what they want. Look at how they make their tests. Talk to students that were a year ahead of you. Talk to the professors, talk to the TAs, and they'll tell you exactly what they want because they want you to succeed, believe it or not. But most people are too scared to go and talk to them because they don't feel confident. They feel like, oh, my questions are dumb. And that's just a really dumb way to look at it. And if you can go into university and just understand that you are dumb, no matter if you had 100% average in high school and you're going to university, just pretend you're dumb and ask questions as if you're a dumb person because that's what they want. Teachers want to talk about that kind of stuff. Your professor wants to talk about the simple stuff, the fundamentals, so that you can get more interested in it. And there's this cowboy quote I love. And it says, you know, if you don't like a class right now, and that's not what the cowboy quote, how it starts, but if you don't like a class right now, anything gets interesting if you know enough about it. So if you're building up the fundamentals and you're getting deeper on something, it's going to get way more interesting as you do that. So talk to your professors, talk to your TAs, and use these apps. And I swear you will get a 4.0 GPA. Don't cram. Don't do all the other bullshit that a bunch of other students are doing. Look at the smartest kids in your class. What are they doing? They're going to class. They're writing the notes. They're looking over the notes. They're repeatedly going over the notes, doing practice questions, showing up to supplemental learning sessions and tutorials. And they're not cramming. At the end of the day, that's not what they're doing. So those are the main apps that I would do. And then I would try and stay away from all social media, like just as a bonus, if you can. I know you're in university and probably Snapchat's probably pretty hot. Like once you're older, you stop using all that kind of stuff. But when you're younger, you know, I understand Snapchat, Instagram, all this stuff. But all of it's going to be a distraction and all of it's just fucking up your focus so that you actually cannot do well enough. And if you can get your focus dialed down, which I'll talk about in the next video or some other video after that, then you are just going to crush university. You're going to get good grades. You're going to have fun. You're going to hang out with people. You're going to be fit. You're going to be making money. And once you're done university, you're going to just continue to do that. And you're going to peak for a longer time. So I think that's basically all the stuff that I would go over. Again, use just Google stuff. So I would use Google Docs and Google Sheets if you need to use Excel or you need to use Sheets or PowerPoint slides. All of it can be done on Google's interface. Not that I'm sponsored by Google, even though that'd be freaking crazy awesome. But that's not the case. So calendar, tasks, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Gemini, and RemNote. Those are the only ones I would ever use and ever touch. I would never buy another textbook again. I would buy it cheap from someone else. Or buy the online version. Just do the online version. Share it with all your friends. Screw it. Piracy, all that stuff, I think is just like such total bullshit because everything is not yours anymore. So you might as well just share it with everybody. And just be a Robin Hood. If you find the textbook online, share it with all your friends. And yeah, I think this is going to help you a lot. If you like this video, like, subscribe. Always remember to rep the set, and I'll see you in the next one.